Good Monday afternoon to you. Welcome to the Jon Sanchez Show on News Talk 780 KOH. It's a pleasure to be with you. Hope you had a great weekend and a great day in the market. We do always want you to have that. Always, always. Joined by my very dear friend, my brother, Mr. Dr. Dennis Sanchez, the AI doctor. All your fans can finally relax that you're back this Monday. Jason, did you see some of these emails and things that the doc got? I mean, he is becoming a stud in such a short period of time. It's almost like he was in this market at one point.
Well, that's good news. That's good for a Monday. I like that. Keep it going.
Yeah,
Keep it
the
going.
audience loves you, man. The audience loves you.
I love the audience.
I know you do. Almost as much as they love Mr. Jason Gaunt. How you doing, Professor?
Hey, good evening. Happy Monday, gentlemen.
Happy Monday, my
good to be with you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All righty, boys. We got a lot of great things to talk to everybody about, so let us get the party started. All right, it's Monday. That means it's AI Monday. That's the reason Dr. Sanchez is joining us, and what a show he has lined up. After, of course, we go through the stock market recap with you, tell you everything that happened on this, once again, record-setting day.
Yeah, M&A Monday.
Yeah, gray hairs are growing faster and faster, Jason, in my head, worrying about how long can it last.
See any gray hairs? You got dark hair there.
Notice I'm growing the beard? You guys
That's
didn't
good.
comment?
I like it.
You didn't even
That's
notice?
good.
Didn't even know. Well,
You could probably grow a beard in like a week. Would you just not shave today?
It's 2 days.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, 2 days.
Keep going.
I love it. That's awesome.
Let's get a close up.
This is the
oh
phase.
yeah, there's a hair.
Oh, hey, wait a minute. Not hardly. This is the phase where it looks disgusting and ugly and sloppy and everything.
That's okay. Looks rugged.
Give me another.
Are you going full beard? Or are you going just?
I'm going to go full beard. Yeah,
nice.
I have contemplated. I've tried
I can't do it.
And for those of you that maybe knew, I mean, what, Dennis? My whole life, from like 18, I think from 18 to 23, I had a full beard, and then I got told I looked like by a manager at GMAC where I worked at the point. He says, "Shave your beard. You look like a Sandinistan gorilla. You need to get rid of it. You
That's
look
specific.
like you belong in the look like you belong in the jungle." So I had to shave it. I was about 25 years old. Then it was a mustache all the way up until about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, and then the mustache started getting really great. I'm like, man, shaved it. Clients just rouse me all the time. It's like, where's the mustache? Bailey, you roused me because you said, when we used to have our billboard up for the wealth advisors right on 395, you said the mustache was like 5 miles long, right? She's putting her hands up like, this big. Got rid of that. But the way I look at it though, guys, I mean, I need to be one of the fellas. Okay. So Jason has just a beautiful goatee, big and thick.
I can't grow out here. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Just almost as thick as the hair on his head, which I'm so jealous about. And this looks like a doctor. Nice gray beard.
Yeah.
The white shirt too. I love
it. He looks the part. What do I have? Nothing. So you know what? I got the Sanchez gene in me. So the beard's coming.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be.
You've got the voice, right? You've got the voice. That's the thing, probably the most powerful in this spot.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah, thank you. I try.
When I bump into people and I'm like, yeah, I know I look taller on the radio.
Better than the other. I can't tell you how many ways people have described me when they finally meet me. They're like, you don't look like anything of what your voice does. It's like, I don't even want to go down that path.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But anyways, all right. So here we go. Let's get things started. Folks, we started, what was it, last Monday, Dennis? We started with the solo AI-preneur, the solopreneur, focusing on building a business, not just any business, but a solopreneur business, all by his or herself using AI, and how we went into great detail. Please, if you missed that show, go back to Spotify, iTunes, listen to our podcast. Matter of fact, I want you to go to our other website. Jason, I don't know if I even told you, but Bailey and I and Dennis jumped over to Podcasters of America.
Mm-hmm.
I think I told you. And we did. It was going to be a half-hour follow-up to the Jon Sanchez show, and it turned out to be, what was it, hour and a half, bro? Right? An hour and a half. We ended up talking about it. It was so much fun, going into in depth. So you can always go to our Podcasters of America website and see that full entire one and a half hour interview with Dr. Sanchez on the Solopreneur. Got amazing feedback from many of you. Dennis was kind enough to give away one chapter of his
new. I gave 3.
You gave 3 chapters away?
Yep.
Why?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's still 6 left. A lot of things can happen.
Are you giving a chapter away today?
No, I'm giving a free assessment to see how people measure up and their I can't even talk right now. You threw me with that one. Their
Jason says,
AI,
welcome to the show, bro. John does that to
AI
me all day.
entrepreneur skills, because I've been doing some research and kind of have a little bit of a profile on what are those traits really and skills that really differentiate the ones that are successful, the solo entrepreneurs that are successful, and the ones that, maybe still have some upside there.
Sure,
and there are a lot of successful people making a lot of money as an AI.
And I'm sure there's a fair amount of failures too, right? Just because you have AI, it's still a business and it's not easy. And you gotta put in the reps, as the saying goes, to make that business a success.
Doesn't AI help you fail faster?
It probably does. Yeah, good
fail
point.
more efficiently.
But it's not quite as painful as when you go out and you sign a 10-year lease on an office or a storefront, and you're like, oh,
you're
boy,
just done in like 3.5 hours.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Up, in and out. But see, that's a great thing. With AI, you just go on to the next one. It's like, okay, shut that one down. On to the next one. Lots of flexibility with AI. But in all seriousness, so Dennis, let's tell everybody what we've got going with you after Jason does a stock market update. So our topic today is, what does it take, to Dennis's point, what does it take to be an AI entrepreneur? Again, there's a certain set of DNA. Jason and I are going to chime in just from a pure business DNA, right? There are some things that you need to have in your DNA, or train yourself to know how to do this, do that, because it's not a basket of peaches, as the saying goes. There are things, I don't care if you're, an AI driven one man, one woman operation, there's some things you need to know. And so between our real life experiences, Dennis's real life experiences, and Dennis's academic scholarly experiences and advice, you're going to be all dialed in on, again, what does it take to be an AI entrepreneur? Now, what is your giveaway today, bro? We didn't get a chance, that we had such a busy day. What's your giveaway today?
After we go through the traits today, we're going to probably just have time for the personal mindset and character traits that are consistent with, through the research, consistent with the solo entrepreneurs that were successful, have been successful. And again, I mean, big time successful, like businesses being bought, multi-million dollars, all those kinds of things. And of course, the common theme in what they're doing is they're using AI so that they can run their company with one person. But we've got the external types of traits, like, being able to learn how to use technology, stuff like that. But we also have so much of the internal traits that are important. And we're going to go over those. What I'm offering is a free assessment. I have an assessment. I'll send it to anyone who's interested. Just answer the questions, and you'll be able to kind of measure yourself against the people that the profiles that have proven to be successful. Mm-hmm. It's not to make you feel bad. It's more to kind of let you know that these things you can learn them. A lot of it is learning and just having the right attitude.
Right, exactly. And what I love about that assessment, Jason, is you get a chance to see your weaknesses, right? Almost like a trader or an athlete. It's like, hey, I think I'm ready for this. I mean, you're a runner, Jason. Hey, I'm ready for this this half marathon or this marathon. Let me go out and run 10 miles. Oh, I'm not quite ready. Right. Doesn't mean I'm going to give up.
Run across the street at this point. Yeah.
Exactly. But it gives you that ability to see, where you're ready. And you may go, oh my God, I aced this thing, this assessment. I'm ready to go. And a lot of times, guys, that's of course, people just need that last bit of validation before they make that plunge, into something else. And so, that's going to be very, very interesting. So you're not giving away, you're done with the chapter giveaway, just to be clear?
This week I am, because the book is actually going to be available, the full book, next week.
Beautiful.
At this time. So
we'll save it for that.
Maybe, we'll do something around that. Okay. And then I have to let you know, I've already started working on a couple more on this topic, getting deeper and deeper into this topic. I love it. And there's a lot to learn.
Yes, there is. Such an exciting time period. Well, geez, Jason, let's get right to the stock market side of things. So speaking of AI, let's talk a little AMD, Advanced Micro Devices, and our dear friends over at OpenAI. These deals never stop coming, do they? That was a big driver to today's market.
Who'd have thought that NVIDIA would give OpenAI a big cash infusion, and then they're going to spend it on AMD chips? But, you want to talk about
Sam Altman. Imagine being Sam Altman, the co-founder of OpenAI, Dennis, when he made the phone call to Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, and go, hey, buddy, I know we talked a couple weeks ago about this 100 billion that you're going to give me. And, we're going to buy the chips back from you, and we're going to do all this stuff. But I got this something happened over the week.
Side project. Yeah.
Little side project. But the good news is it's not as big a deal as the 100 billion, but I'm taking some chips from one of your competitors, maybe AMD. So that's
AMD,
literally, I'm sure what happened.
Moonshot. Stock up 23% today. OpenAI is going to be it's a 6 gigawatt commitment, I think they
6
said.
gigawatt commitment.
Yep. So next generation AI,
Bailey
multiple instinct
Bailey wanted
GPUs.
us. She and I were talking about this earlier. We're actually going to do a YouTube on this real quick. But she said, "Look, you guys keep talking about these gigawatts when you talk AI. Can you please explain how gigawatts relate to AI?" So, when do you want to tackle that real quick?
I'll let Jason do it.
Gigawatts, yeah. From Back to the Future, that's where I always go back to. Yeah.
So remember, folks, 1 gigawatt powers 780,000 homes. Just kind of use that. Just use that. So we're talking a 6 gigawatt project that AMD and OpenAI announced today. So, let's just round the numbers up. 800 gigawatts times 6, that's 480,000 homes. So let's back that down a little bit. So what are we talking? Enough power to power 400,000 homes. It is a big project. It is a bunch of chips.
Yeah. I mean, and again, they're just talking about the amount of power that this facility can handle in terms of ingesting in order to create an output of some kind or data storage, et cetera. So they're not making power. They're just saying, I can take this much juice into it's almost like a V8 versus a 4-cylinder, right? It's like this thing drinks a lot of gas and it can put out a ton of horsepower versus a Prius, right? And I think that's really what they're saying is that's how massive this endeavor will be, is we're going to build something that's ginormous in terms of the power it will be putting out. But they talked about, OpenAI in this relationship has more to do with warrants, right? Where they'll have the ability to buy AMD shares. They're just trying to create more of a true connection versus a circular, you purchase my chips from me later. I think they're trying to create more of a framework for what's that?
You're being so nice. You don't think it's circular accounting all over again? Like they did with
I mean,
NVIDIA?
I think time will tell, but I mean, I think it's also the fact that there are going to be winners, and we've talked about there will be losers, and there aren't going to be 50 winners, right? And so if you're OpenAI or Google or Meta or someone like that, now's the time to spend like a 10%
stake in AMD through these warrants. Let's talk about that when we come back, because this is going to be a new way potentially that we may see other companies do it. So let's make sure everybody has a good understanding, because I'm gonna stick to my term, Jason. I don't care what you say. Circular accounting, just another circular accounting version 2.0.
You should explain what that is.
Let's turn it over to Kristen Snow right now, Traffic Center. Hello, Chris. Welcome back to the Jon Sanchez Show on News Talk 780 KOH with Jason Gaunt and, of course, my brother, Dr. Dennis Sanchez. All right, here's how we finished up on the market. Then we're going to come back real quick to the big story of the day, which was the Advanced Micro Devices and OpenAI announcement early this morning. All right, so how did we finish? It was a sloppy day all day on the Dow side of things. Definitely kind of like on Friday. Worst levels, we were down almost 300 at our worst level early this morning. Bounced back a bit, finished down 63, no big deal. 46,694 was our close. NASDAQ and the S&P, though, a record finish. NASDAQ up 161 points, 0.71%, closing at 22,941. S&P up 24.36% to a record close of 6,740. 84-cent rise on oil to 61.69 a barrel, and a 66, yes, you heard me correct, $66.80 gain on gold, 3,975.90. As I said, Jason, this morning, it's like, this is probably, in my opinion, probably going to be the week, or I shouldn't say probably, I'll get in trouble with compliance. This has a good probability this week that we could see gold potentially break 4,000.
The technicals are leading us to think it would be at 4,000 at some point. Yeah, absolutely. There's the magnet. Oh, those big round numbers, right?
There you go.
Like that strategy on stocks. If it gets to 90, it tends to go to 100. I think that's the next spot on the chart for sure. But it's been a crazy move, absolutely. And weakness in the dollar on the flip side too is a big reason for the strength in gold that we've seen. Silver too has been an absolute moonshot this year. So,
all right, we're going to get to Dr. Sanchez here momentarily. What does it take to be an AI entrepreneur? Wrap it up on the bond market. 4 basis point increase on the 10-year, 416. Supposedly another vote's being tried by the Democrats today, but still, obviously, we have a government shutdown. Now, back to the big story of the day. Announced early this morning, Advanced Micro Devices is selling, quote, 10% stake in AMD of their company to OpenAI in exchange for a very, very large, and we don't really have the dollar amount, by the way, very large purchase, 6 gigawatts worth of AMD chips. In exchange, AMD's turning around and giving warrants to OpenAI. Jason, let's start off with, let's go back to our Series 7 early study days. What the heck is a warrant?
Warrant is the option to buy shares of stock. So it's not instantly dilutive. It's diluted at certain prices. So it's not like if you're a shareholder of record for AMD today, you own less of the company, but at a specific price by a specific time, you could be diluted. And that's why they structure them. Exactly.
And if certain objectives are obtained by OpenAI,
sure.
then
Some warrants are tied to milestones, et cetera. Some are tied to stock price. It depends on how they're structured, for sure.
Yep, absolutely. And once again, we use this term circular accounting, and we talked about ad nauseum, what OpenAI did with NVIDIA and that $100 billion deal. Now, here, let's give you 10% ownership of our company. In exchange, you're going to buy 6 gigawatts worth of chips and go forward from there. So, bottom line, let's go back to that original question, then we'll move on. What does 6 gigawatt makes? Okay, so here's something that has occurred to me, guys, that I never really thought about before. And that is, if you notice with these data centers, which the talk of, this is everywhere, they're not measured in square footage or number of employees or anything. They're measured, right? Jason's going, you're right. They're measured in gigawatts, right? So that tells us, like the OpenAI NVIDIA, that was what, 10 gigawatts, if I remember, or was it 8? Somewhere around there. It wasn't as big as today's announcement with AMD, but it was way up there. So now that's how we measure how big these data centers are going to be, and therefore how many chips and GPUs, et cetera, that they're going to need to run these things. Bottom line, they're massive. And then we put that, again, that analogy of the 780,000 homes is what 1 gigawatt would power. So you take, again, this amount that was announced today, the 6 gigawatts, and you do the math and go, this is another big facility. Guys, I mean, OpenAI went out to the marketplace last week. They raised, what was it, Jason, 500 billion?
Yep, 500 billion.
I think it was. It's crazy. I mean, the amount of capital that's being pumped into that company.
It is interesting for sure. We'll see.
Yeah, I know. We're both saying.
And in terms of like paying customers and how they're going to monetize and all that sort of stuff, right? Yeah. It makes your brain stretch to think. I mean, we're constantly discussing a Copilot, for example, right? And the monetary influx from there versus what the cost for some of these things are. It's interesting math to say we spend hundreds of billions of dollars to make $30 a month off. It's just like we said, we've heard a lot of bubble chatter. We'll continue to hear bubble chatter. Paul Tudor Jones was on today talking about that you could see a absolute massive rally before a massive crash, right? Mm-hmm. And so he just thinks that you need to be leaning more long than short right now, thinking that there's still more air for the bubble.
But he also said our philosophy, which is you got to be nimble, right? You got to be in where you can, but be ready to bail when the tide turns. Because I was just telling this to someone earlier today, and I know both of you agree. When it turns, not if, but when it turns, whether it's a month from now, 6 months, 6 years, whenever, it's going to be fast, in my opinion.
Yeah, it'll be a thing, right? It'll be NVIDIA saying something, or someone, OpenAI saying something that, some sort of peak production or peak output or something along those lines, that then someone, like I said, someone will do the math where, like I forget who the company was pretty recently, the issue we had from China. What the heck was that company called? The DeepSeek, thank you. Right. There'll be another DeepSeek type moment where someone will be like, wait a minute. Like we talk about,
I can do it bigger, better, and cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. If the efficacy of these things are 3 to 5 years,
that's been your fear, and more so than me. But
how do you monetize it? Like, you can't make enough money.
Bro, here's what Jason says. He goes, my fear is in 5 years, because technology, to his point, is going to change. It's changing so fast, right? You got to figure they're going to be building, power's the big issue. You can go build these sites all you want. You still got to power them. And hence why these little, I'll call them pop-up nuclear, sites are going to be appearing everywhere. But to Jason's point, he's like, I predict would you say in 5 years, they're going to be basically an empty warehouse.
Yeah, because that, and also
I agree.
In 3 to 5 years, they got to redo all the chips inside of them. And that's part of where this warrant thing is, right? That there is no spend. It's just like a circular, hey, we're here to keep refreshing your system and you pay us based on, it's almost like a SaaS model. You know what I mean? It's just chips as a service instead of software, right? And you're not just buying chips, the iPhone 17, they're just perpetually getting new chips and aging out the old ones. And then those are sold off to pedestrian AI centers of some kind versus the cutting edge guys. Because there's always the next new one all the time.
I need a new car every 5 years.
100%, right? But even but like on steroids, right? Like
on steroids.
Yeah, like you have to have a new car because your car doesn't run on the fuel that we use now, right? So
one more point to consider. And I actually had Amazon as a customer in the early days when I worked for Hewlett Packard, and they were building their data centers for the cloud. A lot of these data centers never get built. And remember, think about how Microsoft has canceled them 2
Even
years
recently
into recently. It's kind of it's flash. It's it's just an embellished point that just to make people feel like, oh man, we're going to take, we're building all this stuff. Tomorrow they could pick up the phone and say, no, we're not. We're going to do something else. So
because remember, you're so freaking smart, bro. Remember, folks, we got to go to
private credit.
Remember, they're not buying these sites, folks. These buildings.
Private credit is.
Them. Private credit is. And back to Jason's concern.
So you got to watch out for that stuff.
Yep, of private credit, right? Cheap money right now, but yeah, private credit. So if Jason wants to open an AI center and I'm private credit, I'm going to go, Jason, you're a great, good-looking guy. You got money, you got experience. Here, just sign this lease. That's all you got to do. Guarantee this for 5 years. I will take all of the risk. I will build it. I will supply it. I'll do everything. You just pay me a lease payment. 2 years from now, Jason goes, remember back in 2025, I was looking real good and I had all kinds of money. Guess what? I'm bankrupt now. Sorry, John, no lease payment. Right. Then what? Well, how do you use these centers, these multi-billion-dollar centers? All right.
As a marketing piece.
Paintballs, war facilities.
Yeah, exactly. Lord knows we've got enough malls. All right, let's turn it over to Jack Saban, News Traffic and Weather. Hey, Jack. Welcome back to the Jon Sanchez Show on News Talk 780 KOH with Dr. Dennis Sanchez and Jason Gaunt. All right, once again, we finished down 63 on the Dow, up 161 on the NASDAQ, 25-point gain or 24-point gain on the S&P. Both the NASDAQ and S&P closed on record levels. All right, well, we want to try to help you set some records, right? How about you thinking about the world of solopreneur because of AI? This new business is AI driven, right? Again, as we shared with you last week, so many business owners now are being created because of AI. As we said, Dennis gave a great example last week. You literally can have a business up and running in a matter of hours. It'll write your marketing plan. It'll create your social media post announcing it. It'll create your website. I mean, it just goes on and on, but it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody, right? Some people just don't have the DNA, or maybe they're not quite ready to make the plunge into solopreneurship. So Dennis has put together a great list that we're going to hammer through real quickly in regards to what are some of the already successful traits of a solopreneur, and then why does this matter? So Dennis, before we get started on this, do you mind if we just real quickly talk about a company that you introduced me to? And I just mean, you said, hey, look at this, not a physical introduction, to a company over the weekend called ADOS. I guess I'm pronouncing it right. AUDOS. AUDOS. We are not recommending this company. I just find it absolutely intriguing. But this, folks, tells you how important this AI topic is for solopreneurship. Dennis, real quickly, what does ADOS do?
They are an AI solopreneur incubator. So, and they blend the AI into the process. They have a process that basically, as soon as you log in, they're asking you questions about about your business, what you're thinking about. Each moment, they're bringing ideas and recommendations. For example, if you said, I'm thinking of it doing this and this, next thing you know, you look at the screen, it says, well, out of all these 12 that are related to that, what are the top 3 you're thinking about? By the end of the process, you're ready to launch a business. They will create the logo, everything. This is within 15 minutes of logging in. And then they do something really interesting. I just love this model. They go out and test market your idea with 100 people. And if they get a good response, they actually get involved with you. They'll fund you with they'll give you $25,000. They'll help you build the technology, and in return, they get a percentage of your revenues. For the future.
What, 14% or something?
14%.
Well, I thought they were 14% of the company, right? Or is it 14% of revenue?
Revenues.
Okay.
Yeah. But the bottom line, their goal is to launch thousands and thousands of these solopreneur companies.
How important what we're talking about on Mondays, right, Jason, on this subject, and Dennis? This is what's going on. This isn't something we're making up. Here's a company, doggone well, they've got to be venture capital backed or private equity backed, right? They're sitting on probably a massive, massive credit line, and the venture capitalists go, hey, ADOS, here you go. Here's whatever. Let's just pick $100 million, right? You put this company together, you let the entrepreneur take all the risk, all the money, 25 grand, nothing to these companies. Go do it. And it's kind of like Shark Tank. What, one out of, I don't know, pick a number, 25, 100, whatever, are going to make it, but maybe they're going to be the next Google or the next Facebook or something, right? I mean, but I love, Dennis, one of the most important things you just said, how fast it can be done and vetted, right? I mean, I can't do anything else. Okay. So yeah. So thank you for sharing that. I had no idea a company like that existed. All right. So let's talk about our first trait of a solopreneur, right? Growth mindset. In other words, you've got to have belief in the ability to learn and to improve. Why does that matter?
This industry, the AI industry, is like no other industry. As quickly as we know technology moves, AI moves at a whole different speed. So there is an added emphasis on being adaptable, being open-minded. The thing about having a growth mindset means you're open-minded, you're willing to learn, you're willing to take risks and make mistakes, but there are no such thing as bad mistakes. You actually learn by decisions and things you make that don't work out. You learn and you just keep iterating. That's the whole idea behind growth mindset, which is so applicable, in this role, in the role of a solopreneur. So, and that it actually comes from a woman named Carol Dweck, who is the mother of growth mindset. Really? There are whole companies that follow this philosophy because it means you are learning all the time and growing all the time.
I can agree with that more.
Yeah,
you're learning,
So,
right, Jason, you learn business, you learn whatever your product or service is, but you're also always learning business, right?
Yeah.
It never stops.
It's impressive.
But as we were chatting off air, with AI, it's learning like at light speed because the technology and everything is changing so fast.
And to your point, you mentioned something earlier during the break. These are also very relevant for any entrepreneur.
Yes,
they're consistent, but I would say they're just a degree stronger when we're talking about an AI solopreneur because it's just a different environment. And guess what? You're all by yourself. They're making decisions, running a business entirely by yourself.
Yes, indeed. Well, or unless you call AI
your
amigo, as I do. Your amigo or hermano, as I do. Hermano. All right. We're plowing through it. Let's keep it going. Let's wrap it up with the Kristen Snow right now. Traffic Center. No AI-driven traffic report, at least from this lady. She does it all live. That's why it's so good. How are you, my dear? Welcome back to the Jon Sanchez Show on Newstalk 780 KOH. Our very special guest, as he is each and every Monday, Dr. Dennis Sanchez, the AI doctor, and of course, Jason Gaunt and myself. All right. We began our discussion on what does it take to be an AI entrepreneur. So the first trait is you got to have the growth mindset. In other words, you have to have belief in the ability to learn and to improve. Let's go to our second one, Jason. This is an interesting one.
I mean, risk tolerance. I mean, again, Dennis put this list together. I thought this one was dynamite about just being independent, yet knowing that you have some tolerance for risk, because certainly if you're working by yourself, there's no one to fall back on, right? You've got to potentially leave secure jobs or conventional jobs and do something that's cutting edge, right? And utilize a new technology to build a new business. You got to have some good inner strength in order to stay confident through that. And it certainly seems like something that one would need for this type of a decision, for sure.
Dennis, why does this matter?
Well, you're not going to survive if you can't deal with the uncertainty. AI brings a lot of uncertainty with it on a lot of different levels. First, you have the uncertainty of starting a new job, a new career, potentially with this solo entrepreneur role. Then you have the uncertainty with the technology. Is it actually going to do what I'm depending on it to help me so I can run a business by myself? What's a common theme there is trust. And you also have to trust yourself that you'll get through, you'll figure it out. That's a big theme. I can figure it out. I know it's going to be rough. I'll make mistakes. I have a growth mindset. I'm risk tolerant. I can deal with the risk because I have confidence in myself.
Right. Yeah, that's the key right there. You have to have the confidence in yourself, no matter what. Remember, AI it's still young. It's still a baby. It's still learning. It's not 100% foolproof. It still makes mistakes. So when that happens, you have to have that ability, like you just said, to fall back on yourself. Let's say it takes us to your next trait, which is resilience, perseverance through different setbacks. I always give the analogy when we talk about business, and that is an entrepreneur. If there's I'll use the term a roadblock, i.e. a challenge. We don't call them problems in business. We call them challenges. An entrepreneur doesn't try to figure out how to go over that, right? Like a road barrier. He or she figures out, I'm going to go left or I'm going to go right. So why is that important?
Well, you've got to have perseverance through these setbacks. And all the case studies that I looked at and trying to identify these traits, that was probably one of the most common ones. Every single story, they had setbacks and they had to keep going, sometimes starting over from scratch.
Oh, yeah.
It just ties in with everything else, but really important to be able to bounce back.
When you're launching and so on and so forth, but like what Jason and I are going through, like with you, and this is positive. We are moving to the next level, right? We are bringing things to our clients that no one has ever seen before, that we're so very excited about, AI driven type of adaption and so on and so forth. But it doesn't, you can start a business today and it may be great, but guess what? You're going to change. The marketplace is going to change. Everything's going to change. That keyword you made up is resilience, right? You have to be adaptable. I call it like Gumby. You got to be able to bend and go all different directions. Jason, wrap us up on adaptability.
I mean, it's along those lines. You need to be able to pivot when something that you were focused on doesn't work or needs to be changed, right? You need to, maybe your idea, you envisioned it is good for this thing, and turns out it's actually really, really, really good for this other thing, right? And so just, have a good idea and focus on it and let it sort of adapt and change because everything's changing. Nothing's the same anymore. That's for darn sure.
Dennis, with 30 seconds, wrap it up on the importance of these traits of a solopreneur.
Well, very, very important. Very important, of course, stating the obvious. You can learn these traits too. You don't have to arrive with a set of these traits already at full capacity at the highest level. We all have room to grow. But also I want to mention that alongside these are a set of business traits that you also need to be successful. And it's the combination of the two of them that really makes a difference.
Beautiful. I know you're not ready. Send an email, Bailey@SanchezGaunt.com, Bailey. You got to give out this list. This is great. We didn't get a chance to go through it all. So let's do that. Bailey@SanchezGaunt.com. We'll get you this list. Great job, bro. Excellent job as always, Jason. We will do it again tomorrow on the Jon Sanchez Show. God bless. Have a great afternoon.